أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to episode 11 of the Sayyid series. In the previous episode, we covered the concept of the Nuqaba, the Naqibs, very briefly, spoke about its history, and we also went through what makes a Sayyid according to Sharia, and what is the method to authenticate their lineage and their claim to Siyada. In this episode, we will be going through the categories of genealogy, how we put them into categories from within the Sayyids. So, from the Talibis, from the descendants of Imam Ali alayhi salam, what principles do we return to? What are the guidelines we use to understand the various genealogies? And for this, a work which I'll be relying upon in order to enlighten you on this topic is Al-Fakhri fi Ansab al-Talibiyin, which is by Al-Azwarqani, the genealogist. And if you look into the book, he gives a very good picture of how we understand the genealogy of the Sayyids and what categories these are and how we differentiate between them. So he starts by saying, Kullu taqawi fi dunya, ridawi. Every taqawi in the world is ridawi. And then he goes on to say, walaysa kullu ridawi taqawiyan. And not every ridawi is a taqawi. However, what the reality is that every taqawi in the world is a ridawi, yes. And every ridawi is a taqawi. So what was written originally in the book is every taqawi is a ridawi, and not every ridawi is a taqawi. But we know by the consensus of the genealogists that Imam Rida alayhi salam continued only from his son Muhammad at-Taqi al-Jawad alayhi salam. Therefore, every ridawi is a taqawi. So this is worth noting. Then he goes on to say, وَكُلُّ رِدَوِي مُوسَوِي. Every ridawi is a Musawi. وَلَيْسَ كُلُّ مُوسَوِي رِدَوِيًّا. So every ridawi is a Musawi. And not every Musawi is a ridawi. And why is this? Because Imam Rida alayhi salam is the son of Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam. Therefore, every descendant of his is a Musawi. However, there are other sons of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam al-Kadhim alayhi salam who continued the Musawi Kadhimi lineage, but they are not Ridawi. So this is why he says every Ridawi is a Musawi, but not every Musawi is a Ridawi. And then he goes on to say, وَكُلُّ مُوسَوِي بَاقِرِ. Every Musawi is a Baqiri. وَلَيْسَ كُلُّ بَاقِرِ مُوسَوِيًّا. That every Musawi is a Baqiri. Every descendant of Musa ibn Ja'far, so every Musawi, anyone who goes by the name of Musawi, is a Baqiri, meaning he's from Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. He's also a Baqiri. And then he says, وَلَيْسَ كُلُّ بَاقِرِ مُوسَوِيًّا. Not every Baqiri is a Musawi. And this is clear because Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam is himself a descendant of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam, being his grandson. Therefore, every Musawi is a Baqiri. But every Baqiri is not a Musawi because There are many who are from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam, as we're going to get onto shortly, who are not necessarily Musawi, but they are Baqiri, but not Musawi. A good, interesting thing to note here is predominantly in the Indian subcontinent and in some other places in the Middle East, the descendants of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam are known as Ja'fari mainly. However, the Ja'faris in mainly when you talk about outside the subcontinent and those rare exceptional situations outside the subcontinent, they're mostly known as Alawi. Those who are descendants of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam mostly go by the name of Alawi. And Ja'fari refers to the descendants of Ja'far al-Tayyar, the son of Abu Talib alayhi salam. So this is one thing important to note, that in the Arab lands, mainly those Sayyids who did not migrate and are still where in the place of their origin, the descendants of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam go by Alawi and Husayni, or they can even go by Baqiri, but they are mainly the Ja'fari title normally goes for somebody who's a descendant of Ja'far al-Tayyar, the son of Abi Talib alayhi salam, as opposed to those who are descendants of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam, which is why he says that every Musawi is a Baqiri skipping over Ja'fari. This is important to note. And then he says, وَكُلُّ بَاقِرِ حُسَيْنِ. Every Baqiri is a Husayni. وَلَيْسَ كُلُّ حُسَيْنِ بَاقِرِيًّا. That every Baqiri is a Husayni. Imam Baqir alayhi salam is the grandson of Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam. Therefore, every Baqiri is a Husayni, but not every Husayni is a Baqiri. Because, as we're going to get onto, as we move on in the categorizations you'll learn, there are other descendants of Imam al-Husayn who are not necessarily from Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam. He goes on to say then, وَكُلُّ حُسَيْنِ فَاطِمِ. Every Husayni is Fatimi. وَلَيْسَ كُلُّ فَاطِمِ حُسَيْنِيًا. Every Husayni is Fatimi, but not every Fatimi is a Husayni. And this is obvious because there's descendants of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam from other than the lineage of Imam al-Husayn. Therefore, not every Fatimi is a Husayni. وَكُلُّ فَاطِمِ عَلَوِي وَلَيْسَ كُلُّ عَلَوِي فَاطِمِيًّا. Every Fatimi is an Alawi, because if Sayyida Zahra salamullahi alayha, Sayyida Zahra, Sayyida Fatima alayhi salam, had any children, it was only from Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, Imam Ali alayhi salam. However, not every son of Imam Ali alayhi salam came from Sayyida Zahra salamullahi alayha. Therefore, every Fatimi is an Alawi, but not every Alawi is a Fatimi. And then he goes on to say, وَكُلُّ عَلَوِي طَالِبِ. Every Alawi is a Talibi. That's obvious because Imam Ali alayhi salam is the son of Abu Talib alayhi salam. So, every Alawi is a Talibi, but not every Talibi is an Alawi because of the descendants of Ja'far al-Tayyar, the descendants of Aqil. Now, to go into more detail, what else does he say? Going into the further categorizations, he says, فَمَنْ لَيْسَ مِنْ وَلَدْ جَعْفَرْ ibn Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam فَلَيْسَ بِالتَّقَوِي. Whoever is not from Ja'far, the son of Ali al-Naqi, فَلَيْسَ بِالتَّقَوِي. That person is not a Taqawi. Now, we can also use Naqawi here, because throughout the history of the Sayyids, those who were Naqawi or Taqawi, they both went by the name Ridawi. And these titles, as long as they make sense, were used interchangeably. So, he says, we go over it one more time, فَمَنْ لَيْسَ مِنْ وَلَدْ جَعْفَرْ ibn Ali al-Naqi فَلَيْسَ بِالتَّقَوِي. Whoever is not from the descendants of Ja'far, the son of Ali al-Naqi, alayhi salam, is not a taqawi. Then he goes on to say, وَمَنْ لَيْسَ مِنْ وَلَدْ Ali al-Naqi وَمُوسَى ibn Muhammad al-Taqi ibn Ali al-Ridha فَلَيْسَ بِرِضَوِي. So whoever is not from Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam and Musa al-Mubarraqa, the two sons of Muhammad al-Taqi alayhi salam, the son of Imam Ridha, فَلَيْسَ بِرِضَوِي. That person is not a Ridawi. And then he says, وَمَنْ لَيْسَ مِنْ وَلَدْ عَلِيَ الرِّضَى وَإِبْرَاهِيمَ الْأَصْغَرِ وَالْعَبَّاسِ وَإِسْمَاعِيلِ وَمُحَمَّدْ وَعَبْدُ اللَّهِ وَالْحَسَنِ وَجَعْفَرَ الْأَصْغَرِ وإسحاق وحمزة وزيد والحسين وهارون بني موسى الكاظم عليه السلام فليس بموسوي. Whoever is not from the sons of Ali al-Ridha عليه السلام, or Ibrahim al-Asghar, or Abbas, or Ismail, or Muhammad, or Abdullah, or Al-Hasan, or Ja'far al-Asghar, or Ishaq, or Hamza, or Zayd, or Hussein, al-Hussein, or Harun, the sons of Musa al-Kadhim, alayhi salam, فَلَيْسَ بِمُوسَوِي. That person is not a Musawi. And then he says, وَمَنْ لَيْسَ مِنْ وَلَدْ مُوسَى الْكَاظِمِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ وَإِسْمَاعِيلَ الْأَعْرَجِ وَمُحَمَّدْ الدِّبَاجِ وَإِسْحَاقَ الْمُعْتَمَنِ وَعَلِيَ الْعُرَيْذِ, the sons Bani Ja'far al-Sadiq ibn Muhammad al-Baqir, فَلَيْسَ بِبَاقِرِ. So whoever is not from the sons of Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam, and Ismail al-A'raj, and Muhammad al-Dibaj, and Ishaq al-Mu'taman, and Ali al-Uraydi, the sons of Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam, the son of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam, فَلَيْسَ بِبَاقِرِ. So whoever is not from the sons of the names I've mentioned, that person is not a Baqiri. Then he goes on to say, وَمَنْ لَيْسَ مِنْ وَلَدْ مُحَمَّدْ الْبَاقِرِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ وَعَبْدُ اللَّهِ الْبَاهِرِ وَزَيْدَ الشَّهِيدِ وَعُمَرَ الْأَشْرَفِ وَالْحُسَيْنِ الْأَصْغَرِ وَعَلِيَ الْأَصْغَرِ, the sons of Ali Zayn al-Abidin ibn al-Husayn alayhi salam, فَلَيْسَ بِحُسَيْنِ. So whoever isn't from the sons of Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam, or Abdullah al-Bahir, or Zayd al-Shahid, or Umar al-Ashraf, or Hussein al-Asghar, or Ali al-Asghar, the sons of Ali Zayn al-Abidin, the son of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, that person is not a Husseini. This should clarify the previous general categorizations that we gave earlier on in the episodes. So hopefully you've benefited from this episode, and I hope you will join us in the next one. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.